Vendra Yogendram Natva Jnana Pradam Gurum Mumukshunam Hitarthaya Tattva Bodho Bhidhiyate. So the Shastra says that this universe is made up of three principles: Jeev, Jagat and Ishvara. Jiva is this individual living being who is facing this Jagat, and the creator, sustainer and destroyer of both these is Ishvara. Ishvara as a creator is known as Brahmaji, as a sustainer is known as Vishnuji, and as a destroyer is Lord Shiva called Mahesha. Brahma, Vishnu, Mahesha, the Trinity, the three. They are the same Ishvara. When they perform different functions, they get different names. So in the Shastras, it is said that he is the Srishti, Sthiti, Laya Karanam. Ishvara is the cause of this creation, the sustainer of this creation, and he is responsible for the destruction of this creation. In English also, the word God means generator, operator, destroyer. Means the same. So, Ishvara not only creates, sustains and destroys, he is also Karma Adhyaksha. He presides over the law of karma, and he's Karma Phal Data. He gives the results of the karma to the doer of the karma. But the cause of all these three, Jeev, Jagat and Ishvara, is the causeless cause, which is known as Nirgun Brahma. He's called the causeless cause because though he is the cause of Jeev, Jagat and Ishvara, but he himself doesn't have a cause. So he's not an effect. He's not a manifestation. He's the cause, the father of all who doesn't have a father for himself, There is nothing beyond Nirgun Brahma here in this universe. He's represented by Om in the Shastras. He is called Nirguna because he is without any guna. Guna means attributes or properties. So he doesn't have any properties. Nirgun Brahma doesn't have any properties. He's a Shabda, a Sparsha, a Rupa, a Rasa, a Gandha. Shabda, Sparsha, Rupa, Rasa, Gandha are the five properties of Panch Mahabhutas. Panch Mahabhutas are manifested, so they have properties. But Nirgun Brahma doesn't have any properties. It's Nirguna. So also, there's no gender in Nirgun Brahma, because gender can only be of a manifestation. So hence we can refer to Nirgun Brahma as he, she, even it. There's no gender there, So this Nirgun Brahma, also called Nirgun Ishvara, is the unmanifested God, and Sagun Ishvara is the manifested God. This we must know. And the entire study which we are doing, we are going from Sagun Ishvara to Nirgun Ishvara. This is our whole journey, So when Nirgun Ishvara wields his Shakti of Maya, then a part of him manifests as Jeev, Jagat, Ishvara. And this Jeev, Jagat, Ishvara, all three of them have two components each. One is the Atma component, the other is Anatma component. The Atma component is the same as Nirgun Brahma with respect to this body-mind-sense complex. Not just the body-mind-sense complex of a human being, body-mind-sense complex of plants, of animals, of birds, of all the living beings. अखिल विश्व का जो परमात्मा है, सभी प्राणियों का वही आत्मा है. So we, at the Atma level, the entire world is same. We are all the same, and that is the reality. So we are not different from each other. Look what is happening here in the world because of lack of this knowledge, Look what is going on in this world here. Only because, and this never happened in India. India has never been an attack or any time. That's because of this philosophy we had with us, The person we are encountering is Ishvara, So anyways, so this, when you see all this, it is very disturbing what's going on. But the truth is that every manifestation is made up of two parts, Jeev, Jagat, even Ishvara has got Atma and Anatma. So the Atma part is the immortal, the changeless consciousness, which is called Chaitanya Tattvam. With respect to this body is called Atma, and the body mind sense complex is the Anatma. The Anatma is itself made up of three kinds of matter, because Anatma is matter. Anatma is made up of matter. It is a manifestation of Nirgun Brahma only, but it is manifesting as the matter here, which is changing all the time, which is mortal, it's in the realm of time, and it keeps changing, it's inert. That is the Anatma, and the Atma is the consciousness, the Nirgun Brahma with respect to this body, mind, sense complex, This Anatma, which is made up of three kinds of matter, we've studied that, Sthul, Sukshma and Karan Shariras, That is gross matter, subtle matter and causal matter makes up the entire Anatma. And the composition of this Anatma is such that it can reflect consciousness, or you can say that it gets pervaded by consciousness and gets enlivened by consciousness because of its special composition created by God. Just like a mirror has such a composition that it can reflect light and it can form our image in it, Every surface doesn't form that. That belongs to the mirror, the particular composition. Similarly, Anatma has a very particular composition because of which it gets pervaded by Atma and it gets enlivened here. So everything that we are seeing here, whatever we are encountering, is Nirgun Brahma in this manifested form. This is Ashtamurti Ishvara. Ashta means 8, Murti is forms. So every form here, there are 8 forms in this universe which make up Sagun Ishvara. Bhuram Bhamsa Nilo Nilom Baramahar Natho Himamshu Puman Itya Bhati Characharatmakamidam Yasyaiva Murtyashtakam. Bhu is Prithvi, Amba, Jal, Anala, Agni, Anila, Vayu, Ambara, Akasha, the Panch Mahabhutas, Maharnatha, the sun, and sun represents all the luminaries of this universe. Himanshu, the moon, which represents all the planets and satellites of this universe, And Puman are the living beings which are both Char and Achar. Char are the moving ones, Achar are the ones which do not move. Like plants, they are living beings, but they do not move. Yasyaiva Murtyashtakam. This alone is Ashtamurti Ishvara. What I am encountering is Ishvara. So this, this requires a very divine perception to be able to see this here, And a divine perception is what? Jnana Chakshu, which we saw, which is represented by the vertical eye of Lord Shiva. Jnana Chakshu, it is a divine perception. And such a perception can only be in a mind which is purified and refined, An unrefined, unpurified mind, as per the Shastras, has got 3 defects. They are called Mala, Vikshepa and Avarana. Mala means dirt, impurities. Vikshep means restlessness, not steady. And Avarana means ignorance. So these 3 defects are inherently present in an unrefined mind, which 99.99% people have. And the mala of the mind cannot be removed like we will remove the mala of the physical body. We take a bath and the mala will go away, but the mala of the mind doesn't go with the bath. Mala of the mind is raga, dvesha, kama, krodha, lobha, mad, moh, matsarya. This is the mala we have in the mind, And to remove this, we have to live a dharmic life, which involves yajna, dana and tapa. Yajna means only an act of worship. So not only do we have to pray to God, we do worship, but also we perform our duties with an attitude of worship. Work is worship. So if I do not fulfill my duties and I'm sitting and ringing bells there, nothing's going to happen. You can keep ringing till you want to. We have to perform our duties here with the attitude of worship to God. That is yajna. Dan is living a magnanimous life of contribution, not being a contributor here in this world and not being a consumer. We have not come here to consume, Look around what's happening, Ask them to give itna sa, they're holding on to it, holding on to it. But that will not lead them anywhere. A life of dharma is contribution. It's not that you go bankrupt, but wherever, whoever's needy, I have to help. If I have wealth, I will help. If I have knowledge, I will help. If I have time, I will help. Somewhere, any person who comes and asks for help, I have to give help. That is dana. And tapa is living a disciplined life involving self-denial, not indulging in all this, so that my body-mind sense complex remains rough and tough and I remain its master. The body-mind sense complex has the capacity of becoming the master, mainly the mind, It can become the master and turn us into slaves, and then we are dancing to the tunes of the mind, and suffering all the time. So, if we live such a dharmic life, then a person gets chitta shuddhi. Chitta means the mind, shuddhi is purification. So this chitta shuddhi is the first, removing the mala. Vikshep, the restlessness present in the mind, is removed by doing meditation on Sagun Ishvara, which is known as upasana in the Shastras. You either do meditation on his pratima or pratika. Pratima is the form of Ishvara, where we concentrate on Ishvara's form, and pratika is a symbol of Ishvara. It could be a symbol of Om, or it could be God's name, it could be a mantra. So if I dedicate some time for doing meditation, I'm doing meditation on Sagun Ishvara, taking God's name, that will gradually make this restless mind, it will make it steady, the person can concentrate and focus. This is called chitta naishchalyata. So if we take a bucket of water and we keep it outside to get the reflection of the sun, two reasons where the reflection will not form properly. One is if the water is dirty, a good reflection won't form, or if the water is unsteady, a good reflection won't form. So the dirty is mala and unsteady is vikshepa. So first, from our mind, taking that to be the mind and the bucket as this body, So I have to first purify my mind and make it steady, removing both mala and vikshepa. Then I will get gyan yogyata. Then my mind is going to become yogya for this jnana. And with this jnana yogyata, then I have to remove the third defect, which is avarna, which is self-ignorance, Self-ignorance won't just get removed if I have chit shuddhi and chit naishchalyata, I have to study the shastras for that, So by doing that, I will remove that avarna, and I'm going to come to know that my truth, my reality is the immortal Atma, and I'm not this mortal Anatma. So for that, Tattva Bodha is analyzing the human being so that each and every human being knows his truth as Atma, And once he comes to know this truth, he is going to be free from this life of samsara, Samsara is a life of bondage. This is what bondage and freedom means. People don't understand when spirituality talks about bondage and freedom. What freedom, what bondage, they keep asking, you know. Bondage is this, you know, you live a life of attachment, dependences, expectations, which will never get fulfilled, and then you are always having anxiety, tension, worry, fear, grief. This is a life of bondage, you know. And the truth will just knock off all this, you know, and go, and I'll become free. I will become Jivan Muktaha. Every moment of my life is freedom, you know. So a Jivan Mukta is my target. And then after death, I will get Videha Mukti. I will get freedom from this Deha, you know, this helpless, you know, I have no control over this repeated helpless birth, death, birth, death, birth, death. You're out of this, you know, because we are living here, we know you're going to die, and we're going to be born again, born and die again. And this is not, it's like, oh, it's not a merry-go-round, you know, it's just going on and on, we're having a lot of fun. It's no fun here. Only people know, yeah, you may have fun for some age, and as you age, you know, this was not fun at all, you know. So you want to get out of this. This is not a merry-go-round, it's a sorrow-go-round, and the sooner you get out of it, the better it is, you know. So to making us understand this fact, Tattva Bodha is using 3 prakriyas for that. And we have seen the first 2 prakriyas. In the first prakriya, we saw that I, the Atma, am Vyatiriktaha from Sthul, Sukshma and Karana Sharira. The prakriya is called Sharira Traya Prakriya, you know. All these 3 shariras are anatma. They are made up of matter. They are in the realm of time. They are mortal. They are changing all the time. The truth doesn't change. Consciousness, this consciousness which is in me, I'm conscious of everything. This is my reality. I'm aware. I'm alive. Life is Atma, you know, and the rest all is Anatma, you know. Then by the second prakriya, which was Avasthatraya prakriya, we saw that the 3 avasthas belong to Anatma also. They are coming and going, you know, we're going from deep sleep to Jagrata avastha to Swapna avastha. It's changing all the time. I am the witness of this change. I do not change. The avasthas are changing, which belong to Anatma. I am the witness, the consciousness which knows all about these 3 avasthas which are coming and going, you know. So by this prakriya also, we could at least, you know, you're reaching towards your goal by understanding. It's going to be very small steps, you know, because this is a tall order. So by this, you know, you have to implement this knowledge. You know, I have this consciousness which is present all the time. This doesn't change. The mind is changing, the body is changing, everything's changing, but I am not changing. I am the immortal Atma. Then the third prakriya, which we have to start now, is called Pancha Kosha Prakriya. Pancha means 5. Kosha means a covering, a sheet which covers and hides our real nature. Pancha Koshas are our 5 layers of personality, you know. And these 5 layers are just a further division of our Sharira Traya, so that we understand. This is as per our experience of our personality. They want to ensure that we have understood about our Shariras, you know. So Pancha Kosha are our 5 layers of personality. So now we will read this. Pancha Koshaha ke Annamayaha प्राणमयः मनोमयः विज्ञानमयः आनंदमयश्चेति. So to the question, what is Panchakoshaha, the Guru says there are these 5 layers of our personality: Annamaya, Pranamaya, Manomaya, Vijnanamaya and Anandamaya cha iti. When so many things are said together in Sanskrit, they will write cha iti. That is the and added between this thing. So Annamaya is our physical personality. And the word Annamaya means, Anna means food. It doesn't mean just rice, which is understood by some people. Anna means food. And Maya here in this context means the modification of, the product of food. You know, in another context, mayat even means saturated with preponderance of something, you know, but in this context it means modification of food. So our first personality, the physical personality, is called Annamaya Kosha. Then Pranamaya is the prana sheath within us, which is our physiological personality. Manomaya is our mental sheath, which is our emotional personality that we are experiencing. We experience all this. That is, as per our experience, they are now telling us. Vijnanamaya is our intellectual personality. And Anandamaya is that personality when I am experiencing Ananda. So there is no special personality. That was this in deep sleep state, I experience Ananda. We've seen that. It's called Karan Sharira. You know, there's a uniform happiness which every being experiences. Deep sleep, which is free from swapna, deep sleep state. And also in the Jagrat and Swapna Avastha, we experience happiness off and on, you know. So whenever I'm experiencing happiness, I am in Anandamaya Kosha. So this has to be known, you know. So here these divisions, you know, these divisions are of Sharira Traya only. Annamaya is Sthul Sharira. Anandamaya is Karan Sharira. But the Sukshma Sharira is further divided into Pranamaya, Manomaya and Vijnanamaya. Because Sukshma Sharira is the most important Sharira in us, and broadly Sukshma Sharira is even known as the mind. Just the mind can be equated to Sukshma Sharira, you know. And we know how powerful this faculty of mind is, you know. The brain is not the mind. That's the hardware, and the software is this mind. The flow of thoughts is the mind. So the kind of thoughts I have make my mind. As the thoughts, so the mind. As the mind, so the man, you know. So everything depends upon the kind of thoughts which I have in my mind. If, you know, whichever way I think is the way my life is going to be. If I think I can succeed, I will succeed in life. If I think I cannot succeed, I will not succeed in life, you know. If my mind is full of virtues, I'm going to be a good person, you know. If my mind is full of evil traits, like these terrorists, you know, they'll be evil people, bad people. Depends upon the traits of the mind, you know. If the mind is happy, the person is happy. If the mind is sad, the person is sad. If the mind is restless, the person is hyperactive and restless. You know? If the mind is calm and tranquil, the person is calm and peaceful. When two people interact, it is two minds which are interacting. When two people become friends, it's because their minds think alike. So that's the power of mind, you know. When these all these alcoholics and drug addicts, they are taking alcohol and drugs to calm their troublesome minds, you know. They are running, everybody is running away only from their minds, you know. Now our physical body is responding to the kind of thoughts we have in the mind, you know. If the thoughts are positive and happy, the mind is relaxed. Sometimes you'll notice some thought comes and we just smile by ourselves only. We are just by ourselves. What happened? A good thought came into my mind, you know. Sometimes a funny thought has come and I'm laughing by myself. Oh, some thought had come in my mind, you know. So this body is responding to the thoughts in the mind. If the thoughts are going to be negative, full of anxiety, tension, fear, grief, then this body is going to respond. You see how sometimes they tremble, sometimes they're sweating, the palpitation happening in the heart, there's tears coming in the eyes. Put a sad thought in your mind and see for yourself just now. Just think of a sad thing, tears will come in the eyes. Think of something nice, you will smile. So it is just, you know, this is happening over here. Whatever thoughts are coming, this body is responding to those thoughts, you know. The fastest thing in this universe is light. The speed of light is 1,86,000 miles per second. and it takes about 8 minutes 20 seconds for the sunlight to reach the earth from the sun, and the mind goes to the sun and comes back within a split second by a thought. Think of the mind, of the sun, there it goes and comes back, That's the speed of the mind, So this is the mind. The people who have achieved siddhis and powers, those miraculous powers, because they have tapped into the power of their mind, So that's how powerful this mind is. If I can only handle anything if I understand it well. Just like any machine I get, I can use it to the optimum if I have read the manual properly. I know everything about it, Similarly, the mind, if I come to know everything about my mind, my life is going to change, My life will be a happy life because I've understood how this mind functions, And not only just for living my life, but I have to use this mind to know that I'm not the mind. I'm not the mind. I'm the Atma. So I have to transcend the mind. And for that, I have to use this mind only. So my mind has to be purified. With this, all this malavala and that, we can't figure this out. I'm trying to figure out God here, So a very pure mind is required. Good karmas are required, for that. So this is what the koshas are. Then we will read. Annamayaha kaha Anna rase naiva bhutva Anna rase naiva vridhim prapya Anna rupa prithivyam yad viliyate tad annamaya koshaha sthula shariram. So first the Guru is telling to the question what is Annamayaha, that it is Sthul Shariram. So this difference of Annamaya and Sthul Shariram is just seeing this physical body from a different standpoint, When we see our physical body from the point of view of grossness and subtlety, this body is a gross body. It is made up of gross matter. And anything gross alone is visible to our senses, Our sense organs can perceive only something which is gross. What it cannot perceive becomes sukshma. The sukshma sharira cannot be perceived because the senses can't perceive that, So from the point of view of grossness, this body is called sthula sharira. And then from the point of view of modification of food, because it is a modification of food, it is known as Annamaya Kosha. So it comes into being. Bhutva means coming into existence. Anna rase naiva bhutva. It comes into existence with the rasa of the anna which we eat. Rasa is the nutrients, which get extracted by the body, and those only get assimilated in the body. Everything doesn't get assimilated in the body. Whole lot of stuff is thrown out as waste, So the anna rasa, out of the anna, the essence of the food, that alone, with that, this annamaya kosha bhutva comes into existence. When the parents eat food, that is the cause of the seeds in the parents, and those seeds are the cause of conception of the baby in the uterus, So the whole thing is going to anna only, It is because of anna those seeds are formed. It is because of anna the conception has taken place, So coming into being because of anna. Then anna rase naiva vridhim prapya. Then when the baby comes into existence, it is attached to the mother by the umbilical cord. And whatever the mother is eating, its anna rasa is going to the baby through the umbilical cord, and the baby is growing. Vridhim prapya. It is growing, Even after the baby is born, then the child feeds on the mother's milk, which also is anna rase naiva. It is from that, it is vridhim prapya. It is growing because of the milk which he is feeding on the mother, And then after some time, the baby has to be directly given annam, So orally you have to feed it, and you have to feed what is good for the baby, not what the baby likes. And every mother knows what a huge task that is, that it is not easy to feed that baby, just, and after the baby starts running around, the mother with a bowl is running behind the baby, telling stories, giving, trying to distract the mind, oh train aaya and oh aeroplane aaya, what all the mothers have to do. And sometimes the mothers think that it was so easy when the baby was inside, all I had to do was eat food, and now I have to make this baby eat that food, So with that, vriddhim prapya. So gradually the kid is going with the food, Then as the child keeps eating, then the person grows to his full capacity. After having grown to the full capacity, having lived a life, we all have to die. So when we die, we have to go back to Anna Rupa Prithivyam Yad Viliyate. All the Annam is coming only from Prithvi Ma, from Bhudevi. There is no other source of Annam. Even the non-vegetarian food which people eat, those animals are dependent on the food from the earth, Earth is the source of food. So we are coming from this, and then after death we go back to this, So it is such a beautiful eco cycle. There is no wastage here. God has produced these human beings, and they are the ones who are damaging the planet. As per God's creation, if you see, not one bit of wastage is happening anywhere, So our physical body is just actually this refined clay. And it is so refined that it appears different. Nobody will believe it also that actually if we check this and check this, it is same, The same stuff is present here, same stuff is present there, So this has become a koshaha because of my identification with this sthul shariram. Everybody is so obsessed with this sthul shariram. This is me, So this is the viveka here. I have to learn to disidentify from the sthul sharira. It is sthul sharira which is inert, it is matter. How can I be matter? I am the consciousness. This is the discrimination. This is the tattva viveka. If we take food, the raw food, and we weigh outside half a kg rice and little bit of vegetables, we weigh, and then we eat that. First we'll say this weight, there is half a kg rice and little bit of vegetables, and then we eat that food, and that food goes and becomes the body, and then we will say my weight, not the weight of the body, it is my weight, So this is where this error which is happening has to be corrected. It is not my weight, it is the weight of the body. We may say it is my weight because when we do vyavahara here, we are talking to the people in this world who don't know ABCD about Vedanta. You can't tell them, it is weight of my body. They will laugh only at you because they know nothing about. If you have to write in some resume, write your name, we have to put down this name. I can't write Aham Brahmasmi, that? So then they'll think we are mad only, or some mad people have come. So when we talk to the people, we can say it is my weight, but in my buddhi I must know it is not my weight. The entire knowledge is just for myself in my buddhi. I don't have to prove this knowledge to anyone. I don't have to tell this to anyone. You can live amongst all these people. I don't know if they are conversing, they're only conversing at this level, so you don't even know what to converse with the people of the world, because once the perception changes, it's very difficult to mingle with the world, because everybody is a jiva here, and their conversations are only something different, So this is the viveka. Then the next is pranamaya. Let's read that. Pranamaya kaha. Prana dyaha. Panchvayavaha. Vagendriya panchakam. Pranamaya koshaha. So to the question, what is pranamaya? The Guru says pranadayaha. That it is the sheet of pranic energy which is made up of panchavayavaha. We had studied that this vayu which is outside, when we inhale in our body, it starts functioning as 5 vayus: pranavayu, apanavayu, vyanavayu, samanavayu, and udanavayu. Pranavayu helps us exhale, and it takes care of our respiratory system. Apan Vayu helps us inhale, and it takes care of the excretory system. Vyana Vayu moves all over the body and helps in performing the circulatory system functions, Udan Vayu, it helps in the digestion and assimilation of food. No, that is, Udan Vayu is the anti-gravity Vayu, which helps in moving things upwards, throwing out the waste from the body, like toxins, like we start vomiting because of Udan Vayu. And at the time of death, the main function of Udan Vayu is at the time of death when it ejects the jiva out of this sthul shariram, So we looked into the 5, prana, apana, vyana, samana and udan. Samana is the one which is responsible for digestion and assimilation of food, So these 5 vayus along with Jnanendriya Panchakam where is this? Vagendriya Panchakam. Vag is the organ of speech. We've seen that, and it is a karmendriya. And when he says Adi, he means the other 4 Vagendriyas also, which were Vag, Pani, Pado, Payu, Upasthasya. We've studied that, So these karmendriyas, because of which we are responding to the world with the karmendriyas, they get energized only with prana shakti, Otherwise you cannot act. So these together, the Panchvayavaha and the Panchakarmendriyas together are known as Pranamaya Koshaha. See, these pranas, are the only part of Sukshma Sharira which never gets resolved in any state of experience. Even in deep sleep, the prana is going on. That is why a person who's got this breath is called a prani. And to confirm death, we will first check whether the person is breathing or not, So the pranas are present all the time. But the pranas are not my reality, though they are present all the time, because they are inert. See, in deep sleep, prana is going on, it's present, but I don't know anything. I'm unaware about anything. So that proves that prana is inert. It is not sentient, and I am a conscious being. So prana is not my reality, but it is present in the body all the time. It leaves the body only at the time of death. So this pranamaya kosha has the kriya shakti in it. We had studied earlier that a human being has 3 shaktis: jnana shakti, ichha shakti and kriya shakti, by which janati, ichhati, yatate. When I come to know anything about this world, first I need to have the knowledge about something in this world, then only I can desire an object, and then I can work to get it. So there are shaktis present in us, So anything which I desire is always known to me. An unknown thing we will never desire, It has to be known to us. But everything that we know, we don't desire, because this desire depends upon my likes and dislikes, my capacity to buy that object, my requirement of that object. So it's not necessary that everything I know I'm going to desire, Like a bald man, if he sees a good shampoo bottle, he's not going to buy it. He doesn't need it, So that desire only will not come. So the desire comes for something which I need. So our body has Jnana Shakti, it has Ichha Shakti, and the Pranamaya Kosha has Kriya Shakti, by which the Karmendriyas function, That is why it is Prana and Karmendriyas together. Then this has become a kosha because I am identified with the functions of this sheath of mine. I am hungry, I am thirsty, I am ill. The hunger, thirst, illness is a physiological function of the body belonging to Pranamaya Kosha, and I am is the Atma. This is the Viveka we have to do. This is how we discriminate. Next is Manomaya Kosha. Manomayaha Kosha Kaha. Manascha Jnanendriya Panchakam Militva Bhavati Sa Manomayaha Kosha. To the question, what is Manomaya Kosha? Guru says, Manascha Jnanendriya Panchakam Militva. the 5 Jnanendriyas militva together along with the mind is known as Manomaya Koshaha. Why? Because the senses which get the information of this world cannot function without the mind. They have to be backed by the mind to get the information of this world. And the mind on its own has no direct access to the world. The mind cannot contact the world directly. It needs the 5 senses to contact, So these two have to be together. Hence, Militva, these two Militva, Jnanendriya Panchakam and mind together is known as Manomaya Kosha. Manomaya Kosha has the Ichha Shakti in a human being. The Ichha Shakti is also there in the animals. They have an instinctive, Shakti, Ichha Shakti. They're just, their lives are eat, sleep, procreate, die. So whatever's coming instinct in the mind, they cannot rationalize it. They can't think about the pros and cons of that and then do an action. They're instinctive, So a human mind has this desire, this capacity, which he'll weigh the pros and cons. And desire as such is a blessing of Ishvara, A desire only has brought you all to the class of Vedanta because there's desire for Adhyatma Jnana, there's desire for moksha here. That is why you're here, So the desires which chase the people in this world, especially the illegitimate desire, the adharmic desires, those desires, they are so dangerous for the life that they will take the person, in the dumps, it will throw them in the dumps, But these desires present in us, even if they're legitimate, they have to be gradually refined in our life. The whole life process is refinement of our desires. And the most purest, highest desire is desire for moksha. This is the desire, nothing beyond that, And once the person becomes a mukta, then he has desire to serve the humanity. It is called Loka Sangraha in the Shastras, Then also there is a desire, But that's a desire to serve. Don't want anything, I am the Atma, I am this whole universe, I don't want, but I would like to serve here till my prarabdha karmas don't end, So the Manomaya Kosha is that, and it has become a Kosha because I am identified with this mind, I am happy, I am sad. So if the mind is happy, then I am happy. The mind is sad, I am sad. So I am is the Atma, and the happiness and sadness belongs to the mind. I have to disidentify from this mind. This is the Tattva Viveka here. Then next is Vijnanamaya Kaha Buddhishcha Jnanendriya Panchakam Militva Bhavati Sa Vijnanamaya Koshaha. So to the question, what is Vijnanamaya Koshaha, the Guru says, this also along with Panch Jnanendriya Militva, even the Buddhi needs all the data from the sense, the 5 senses of ours, both mind and Buddhi will require the sense organs to function in this world, The Buddhi of the human being is the, Churamani, this is so well evolved, that is why he is a human being, Animals have some rudimentary intellect by which is just helping them do survival. But look where the humans have reached today is because of this buddhi, the intellect which a person has, And the buddhi has jnana shakti in it, The jnana shakti belongs to the buddhi. And the senses must obey the mind, and the mind must be under control of the buddhi. If this is what is happening in a person, his chariot is going to move on the right track. So buddhi is the boss in our body, But that doesn't mean that buddhi is an intellect, so the emotions I let them be. The mind is emotional, and the buddhi it's an intellect. This is logical, it reasons, is judgmental. That's the buddhi, So we have to function here along with the emotional mind. There has to be a balance between man and buddhi, you know. If it is totally buddhi, then we will say this is a heartless person, he's all head and no heart, you know. And if the person is dominated by emotions all the time, then we'll say he's all heart and no head. You know, that's not the way we can function over here. We need both man and buddhi to be in balance, but the mind must obey the buddhi, and the senses must be in the control of mind. Then only our chariot moves on the line. So it is this Vijnanmaya Kosha has become a Kosha because I am identified with this. I am an intellectual, you know, I am so logical, I reason properly, this is I, you know. So this is the distinction I have to make. All these properties belong to the buddhi and I am the Atma. That buddhi has got enlivened because Atma has pervaded it. Otherwise it's an inert matter, you know. So this I have to know, this is the Viveka. And then the final kosha is Anandmaya. Anandmaya kaha evameva karan sharira bhuta avidyastha malin sattvam priya adi vritti sahitam sat Anandmaya Kosha. So he is saying Anandmaya Kosha is Karan Sharira Bhuta. It is Karan Sharir only. Annamaya was Thul Sharir only. This is Karan Sharir only, you know. So Anandmaya Kosha, you please understand as Karan Sharira. Now when we had studied the Karan Sharira, we had seen that many definitions of Karan Sharira. Karan Sharira is a little difficult to understand, and Karan Sharira we are when we are in deep sleep, you know. That is the causal body is Karan Sharira. So here Guru is using three features to explain us Anandmaya Kosha, which is Karan Sharira only. So he says Avidyastha, the first feature is Avidyastha, the second is Malin Sattvam, and the third is Priya Adi Vritti Sahitam Sat, that is Anandmaya Kosha. So he is using three features. So the first feature is Avidyastha. So when we studied Karan Sharira, the definition we saw was Anirvachya Anadi Avidya Rupam, if you remember, you know. So Avidya means self-ignorance. Our Karan Sharira is self-ignorance only. That is our Karan Sharira, which is self-ignorance. So here also he says the same thing. Stha means stabilized in. That time we are having self-ignorance when we are in Karan Sharira. Right? The second is Malin Sattvam. Now Karan Sharira is the causal body. That is the causal body, and the causal body is made up of the matter which is subtlest in form. It is called Prakriti. Then the Sukshma Sharira is little more subtle, and the Sthul Sharira is the grossest. The causal body, which is the cause of Sthul and Sukshma Sharira, is the subtlest Prakriti, subtlest matter, and that in totality in the whole world, that causal body is known as Maya, is also called Prakriti, you know, and with relationship to our individual body, it's called Avidya, right? So this Prakriti, this causal body, the Maya, is Trigunatmika. It has three gunas. You know, these three gunas are Sattva Guna, Rajo Guna and Tamo Guna. These three gunas are present in the causal matter itself. Inherently it's present, you know. And because the causal matter itself forms the Sthul and Sukshma Shariras, so these three gunas which are present in the causal matter, they flow into the Sukshma and Sthul Shariras. So whatever is present in the causal, like, you know, a lump of gold with 20% copper in it, if that's going to form the ornaments, then the ornaments also will have 20% copper, no? So similarly, this causal matter has three gunas. So these three gunas, when these two bodies are formed, the Sukshma and Sthul Shariras, they also have three gunas, you know. So the all the human beings, all the beings, have these three gunas present, Every human being has got these three gunas. But the variety which we see here, the difference in the human beings we see here is the difference of these gunas present in every human being, Sattva guna stands for knowledge. A person who is dominant in Sattva guna will always be surrounded with books. He'll be sitting in library, he's going to be studying, he's going to be doing research work. From distance you can say this is Sattva guna dominant person. He's got Sattva guna, because he is into knowledge. Rajoguna stands for activity. A person dominant with Rajoguna is always going to be active, can't sit down, he's active. Tell him to read a book for 2 minutes, just can't read, can't concentrate. It is a Rajoguna mind, activity oriented, Then the third guna is Tamoguna. Tamoguna suppresses both, that is the knowing faculty and this is the doing faculty. Sattva guna is knowing faculty, Rajoguna is doing faculty. Tamoguna suppresses both, So there is no knowing, no doing in Tamoguna. Lazy, dull, procrastinating, the slob, Tamoguna kind of a person. Can't do anything, can't know anything, But this Tamoguna is also required by us. If we do not have Tamoguna, we'll never be able to go to sleep. We'll always be knowing on doing something, some activity only we'll be doing, So we also require to go into Tamoguna. When Tamoguna dominates, only then we can get sleep, So in sleep, there is dominance of Tamoguna. That is why we sleep. So here he says Malina Sattvam. The word Malin is used for, Malin means impurity, and impurity here is the ignorance. And ignorance is when we have Tamoguna, So there is dominance of Tamoguna, and he is also saying Sattva, Malin Sattva. And there is a little bit of Sattva guna too, because when the person wakes up, he says, I slept well and I did not know anything, These two things a person says when he gets up. So there is little bit of Sattva guna, only then we can know. If we have no Sattva guna, then we will not know anything. That knowledge part is required, so there is some Sattva guna also present in deep sleep state, and mainly it is Tamoguna. So the state over there is called Malin Sattva. The guna which is present there is Malin Sattva guna, right? This is present in the deep sleep state. Then the third feature which he uses here is Priya Adi Vritti Sahitam Sat. Now, whenever we are in deep sleep state, we are all experiencing uniform Ananda. Bliss, it is the same for everyone. There is no difference. But in our Jagrat and Swapna Avastha, the happiness which we experience, Anandamala Kosha is happiness, talking all about happiness only. This is, we're talking about our personality when we are experiencing happiness, So in the Jagrat, mainly Jagrat, Swapna Avastha it is less, it is there depending on the dream, but mainly it is the Jagrat Avastha. So here in Jagrat Avastha, we have different grades of happiness which we experience, It is not a uniform experience as we experience in deep sleep state, The grades of experience in English, we said, happy, happier, happiest. Oh, I'm happiest. We only talk about it. He's so happy, happier, happiest, So that grade of happiness is happening because of certain vrittis forming in the mind. Nothing happens without vrittis, There are certain thoughts, happy thoughts which are taking place in our mind at that time. So when I see an object which I like, which is priyam to me, then when I see the object which I like, it could be a dress which I always wanted, it could be some mithai which I wanted, it can be a person which I like very much, then my mind is going to be happy, and there is a vritti forming, that happy vritti which is called priya vritti taking place in my mind, The Shastras analyze so much in depth, Then this, it is, Ishta Darshanam Sukham. This Priya Vritti is forming Ishta Darshanam. I am having darshan of my Ishta object, So the Sukha which I am experiencing is the Priya Vritti which is forming in my mind. Then I buy that object. If it is a dress, I buy it, or mithai, whatever. I am now the owner of that object. Ishta grahanam sukham. Now I am happier because first I just saw it, now I own it, you know. The vritti which is forming in my mind, that happier vritti, is known as moda vritti, you know. And then then I will consume that object, you know. Either it's a dress I'm going to wear it, if it's a mithai I'm going to eat it, you know. Some bhoga, some indulgence, you know. This is called bhoga anubhuti, you know, bhoga sukham. The sukh which is coming is because of this anubhuti, this bhoga which will happen. It makes me happiest. At that time, the vritti which is forming in the mind is called pramoda vritti. So there are three vrittis which takes place as per the grades of happiness which we experience. They are called Priya, Moda and Pramoda vrittis which takes place in the mind. Here the Guru just said Priya Adi because he expects us to know about all these vrittis, you know. So these are the three vrittis which are happening in the mind. So this is what the Anandmaya Kosha is. One is, it is avidyastha, it is self-ignorance. It has got malin sattvam, there is tamo guna with a little bit of sattva guna, no rajoguna. Only little bit of sattva guna and mainly tamo guna present when we are sleeping. And in the waking state, the Anandmaya Kosha is experiencing different grades of happiness, and those vrittis are forming in the mind. Whenever we are in this personality of ours, we are in Anandmaya Kosha. And it is a kosha because I am identified with it. I am happy, I am sukhi, you know. So I am is the Atma, and happiness and sukh belongs to Anandmaya Kosha, which is Karan Sharira. This doesn't belong. I am not all this, you know. So we will just finish this also. Etat Kosh Panchakam. So this is what Guru says. These are the Panchakoshas, you know. So with this, we have finished the three prakriyas, and in all the three prakriyas we saw, whether it was the Sharira Traya or Avastha Traya or Panchakosha, everything was anatma. Anatmas are coming and going, anatmas are changing. All this which is happening belongs to these three shariras, three avasthas, panchakoshas. This is not me, because all this is matter. It is all made of anatma, and I am the atma. This is what I have to know. From the next shlokas, the very important subject of what is atma is going to start, which we'll take from the next class. Om Purnamadaha Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vishishyate. Om Shanti 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 Hari Om.